Hi, and welcome to the Selling in the Motor Trade podcast in association with CarWow, the online car-changing destination. Together, we share tips and ideas on how to sell more cars, improve your service department, and generally put more profit into your department, dealership, or dealer group. I'm your host, Simon Bowkett, or some of you might already know me as Skippy. Firstly, I just want to say thank you for taking the time to listen to this podcast. Hi, welcome to another episode of Selling in the Motor Trade. Today, I'm joined again with Stuart Wallbanks, and we're going to talk about all things second-facing, double closing, call it what you want. So Stuart, welcome back to the podcast.
Hi, Simon.
Listen, I wanted to talk about this because when I first started as a sales manager, too many years ago now, my boss, he just kind of rammed it into me. He said, if you want to make a big difference, make sure you speak to every single customer before they leave the dealership, no matter what. If you want to make an impact in the dealership, every telephone inquiry, phone up and speak to the customer yourself afterwards. Today, every digital inquiry, I'd want to make sure that's dealt with the right way. But Stuart, I don't know if it happens. Do sales managers, business managers, transaction managers, are they speaking to every customer every time before they leave? Or should they speak to every customer before they leave?
Yeah, it's another one of those questions where there's no right or wrong answer. Having done 2 years back in dealer at management level, sort of starting a few years ago, I've been in that situation. So speaking in the real world, ideally, yes, you'd love to speak with every customer, first face, second face. The reality is, and please, management team out there, you'll either appreciate this or you'll hate me for it, but we're kind of glorified admin. We've got so many forecasts to do and so much reporting to do, and we've got stock meetings, and there's so much to do. So there physically aren't enough hours in the day to be as in control of the sales process as we would like. Again, you could argue that the best place for a sales manager to be sat would be out in the showroom, so their eyes and ears on the road. But again, the demands of the job doesn't necessarily always make that convenient. So the situation that I find myself in was you trust the management team that you manage, and ultimately you know who needs your help the most. You know whom typically you can trust, but you should always inspect what you expect. So I'm thinking of a particular brand manager who was brilliant at his job, and 90% of the time he would be absolutely fine functioning by himself, but we'd still check in with him, or I'd still ask his line manager to check in with him just to make sure he wasn't cutting any corners. So second facing, you haven't mentioned first facing. I think that's just as powerful. If we could every time, absolutely. Is it feasible? I'm not so sure.
Yeah, the amount of reporting and everything we have to do from when I was a sales manager. Now, I've only ever been a general sales manager, not the head of business or something like that. So I love what you're saying. You need to manage your managers and get them to do what they can. But I've got to say that as a sales controller, a showroom manager, we do need to inspect what we expect. And one thing I will say, sometimes sales managers say, I haven't got the time to second face. And by the way, I live in the real world. I know that. We're in dealerships all of our life. We see what happens. But sometimes I say, you haven't got time to second face because you're not second facing. Now, I know that sounds a bit mad, but this is what I mean. You've got Billy, you've got Jenny, okay, that you need to go out and second face. The first time you do it, you realize that they qualified on the wrong car. Okay, we haven't got the qualification right, and you're not doing a second face. You're almost starting the sale from scratch, and you're spending all your time trying to start over again. But I would urge you to start second facing, because when you do that, the next time Billy or Jenny comes to you, you're going to know, hold on for a second, their qualification was wrong last time. So when they say, can I have a valuation on this car? Before you jump into putting your valuation hat on, you might say, whoa, hold on for a second. Tell me a couple of interesting things about your customer. Hey, what's about that particular car that caught their attention? Listen, are we showing them the right car there? Because actually, there might be more car than actually the budget can stretch to. So then that's one part of it. You'll realize that you've got a weakness there. The other thing I love to say there, Stuart, is when you start second facing and you come out and say things like, but Mr. and Mrs. Customer, we work within a market, we don't create the market. When you come out and say, hey, listen, that's not feasible, how flexible can you be? And it works. Your Billy and your Jenny use it themselves. They sell the car, and then we don't need to second face. So yeah, can we do 100% of the customer 100% of the time? I don't think it's feasible, but don't
Just to
use that
touch
as
on
a
what
cop out.
just to touch on what you've just said, we always tell everyone we work with, if we're in your business and you would like us to second face, um, get us to do it. We enjoy it, and from my experience, I get asked to do that more often than you'd expect. And it's funny when I go and second face a customer, and I just introduce myself that I'm from the head office, part of the management team. I keep it generic. I see all the sales execs kind of trying to get as close as they can. Like I've got these incredible like words of wisdom that I've never imparted before. And I don't know if they're impressed or totally deflated when all they hear me say are the things that we talk about in our training. Exactly the things that you've just said. We don't create a market, we work within a market. But how powerful is that just to take that opportunity? So if you're a manager, what an opportunity for you to remind your team of all of the right words and phrases that we can be using.
Some people listen to this though, and this might be the elephant in the room. They might be rusty. I mean, they know how to sell cars. They're in that position because they were generally good at selling cars. Okay, that's how it works generally. Okay, but they might not have done it for a while. Could there be people listening to this podcast saying, well, hold on, isn't my credibility shot if I go out and speak to a customer and I can't sell a car? Could that be a
I
danger?
I think it's completely normal. I'm pretty certain whatever profession you're in, if you had somebody of the same profession, even more so if you managed them, watch you do your job. So I'll share this with you. You know, it's rare we're in the same room at the same time because our lives are so busy all over the country.
Yep.
But there's no doubt if you happen to be in a training room when I'm delivering, I'm very conscious of it, and I'm probably even more self-aware and critical of myself than I would ordinarily be, if that
Mm.
makes sense. Because someone who knows my job is listening to me do my job, and I'd like to think that everything you hear is absolutely on par. So I think the challenge I see with sales managers that they probably have got rusty.
Mm.
It might be years since they actively sort of did the process, the road to a sale, start to finish. So that puts a little bit of pressure on them when it comes to closing the sale. But I think the pressure comes from the fact that they've got typically one of their team that they manage watching them perform or not. And I think it just unnecessarily it puts extra pressure, or the management team put extra pressure on themselves to perform.
Mm.
Um, and we tell all the managers that we work with, if ever that you resonate with that, just have a word with us. We can do it in quiet. Do you know what, Stuart, Simon, Andrew, Darren? I see the value in second facing. I don't do it as much as I would like. I feel a little bit rusty, but I don't want anybody to know. Let's have half an hour and a coffee, and we
Mm.
can have a chat and we can give you some tips.
Well, actually, I'll go one stage further. I think sometimes salespeople learn more when I get it wrong
Yeah.
than when you get it right. And I have no problem saying, "Huh, I've stuffed that one up, didn't I? What should I have done?" Because you know what? There is no way that I can close every customer every single time.
Yeah.
If I could do that, I wouldn't be sitting there talking to the salespeople there. Do you know what I mean? It just doesn't work that way. And I think there's nothing wrong with saying, hey, listen, this customer's not closable. You know, I am certain that I've burnt some customers because I've tried too hard with the eyes looking at me to try and sell a car there. When the real world, if they weren't looking at me, I would have backed off a lot earlier.
Yeah.
Okay. But I promise you, they learn more. And one thing that I do is before I ever go out in second face, I grab the salesperson and say, right, you know your customer better than I do. This is what I think I'm going to say. How do you think it's going to work with your customer? Okay,
Mm.
you got a line public. So you're comfortable with what I'm going to say? Right. I'll tell them what I'm going to say before I go out there and do it. So they know what to expect. And please, salespeople, if you want your manager to come out in second face, stay there with them so you can hear what they're saying. Because I promise you, a customer will try it on. if you're not there as a salesperson. Now, people who listen to this can see that Stuart's almost laughing there. But don't customers try it on? Billy said I could get that amount. They absolutely do.
There's two things I'm quite passionate. One I've already touched on. The best management team, the most profitable businesses, typically are where the managers make space for second facing, but they also prioritize first facing.
Yeah.
Just that soft, gentle, hi, welcome to such and such. I can see Simon's looking after you. My name's Stuart. I'm one of the management team here. If there's anything I can do for you today, please feel free to knock on my door and ask. I'm thinking of a particular sales exec, Amy, who was absolutely brilliant. And she would force that first face. So the management team, we were all equals. We'd all, help with any part of the job that we could. So there were occasions I could hear Amy's heels over the showroom floor getting louder and louder, and I'd know she'd be with a customer, and I might be in the middle of a report or something. I'm thinking, oh, Amy, please, not now. But then she'd be there. Stuart, I just want to introduce you to Bob and Sue. These are my lovely customers I told you about earlier. They've come in to look at the RS3. I've explained that you're one of the great one of the people on the team that's really going to help do a great job finding the market value for their car. So put me in an uncomfortable place where I had to prioritize talking to Amy's customers.
So clever, isn't she?
She's brilliant. And do you know what? She'd forced that. The second face was just a natural event because I've already had that. Hey, it's great to meet you. The RS3, what a car. If I were in market for a car, I'd love to think I could stretch myself to that vehicle. Look, Amy's brilliant. She's one of our top team. So go and enjoy that drive. Don't enjoy it too much, and I'll see you when you get back. It would almost be rude to not second face having had that conversation. So again, managers out there listening, don't hate me for this. I have said to sales execs, but my boss just doesn't want a second face. He just doesn't like it. I say, use the Amy technique.
Yeah.
Walk your customers over to
love it.
Use the Amy technique. Walk them over and say, hey, such and such, I just want to introduce you to my customers. I've explained that what you do is, and put them in the uncomfortable position where they've had to make time for your customers. And I from experience, the second face will just happen.
And what Amy's doing there to make sure the Foursquare's stacked and ready when she comes back from the demonstration drive, you have to, not sitting there to the back of the queue there. I love it. Absolutely. I've not heard that one before. I really like that technique.
The second one I'm really passionate about, and I was on the customer side of the desk. I was years ago looking at an Audi. It's when they first put the TFT dash in the TT, and I thought it looked incredible. So I went to look at a car, and the sales exec came out with a Foursquare, and I liked the car. I clearly didn't like enough to buy it because I didn't, and I used the famous old words, "Thanks for that. I'm just going to go home to think about it," which was quite genuine. The sales exec said, word for word, "Stuart, before I can let you leave, I've got to go and have a word with my boss. He'll want to come and talk to you." And I remember reacting quite badly to that. I kind of almost focused on the "before I can let you leave." And I said something like, look, quite politely, whatever conversation you need to have with your boss is absolutely fine. That's your prerogative. But I'm not going to sit here while you have that conversation. I will be in touch. And I talk to delegates about that, and they go, "Oh my God, you were so rude." I actually don't think that I was.
No.
Before I can let you leave. That isn't what second facing is about. We're not forcing the customer nailed to a chair that we've got utter control over what they can and can't do.
Yeah, so true. So true. I was just thinking before, I want to go back a little bit about the Amy thing because it's just come to mind. Sorry, here. It's just we have to talk about Kevin Conley, okay? Great advocate of the podcast. Kevin, we're going to get you on the podcast one day, okay? You know that, and he will be coming on it. But the guys used to call me the coffee boy when I was a general sales manager, because I would go and make the coffee. So, hi, how are you? Is Billy looking after you? Okay, is Sean looking after you? Great, let me teach you right with coffee there. Just so it's that first face. And Kevin said, "Goodness me, did you just make that up? Did someone tell you that?" No, he said, "My father used to always make the coffees all the time." And Kevin Conley, west of Ireland, okay, runs a great business there. I believe to this day, He still like makes the coffees. He talks about how his father does it there. And it really does make a huge difference there. It's that first face. So when you come in second face, it's not this who's that person in the corner that's stacking the deal up. Who is that person there? We're on their side. We
Yeah,
really are.
absolutely.
Yeah, really are. So something else. So a manager that likes the idea of this, listen, get in contact with Stuart, Darren, Andrew, myself there, and we'll talk you through a framework. But the first thing I want to say is you need to praise the salesperson in front of your customer. Okay. You don't want to come out here, hey, listen, I'm the man with the calculator. I'm going to let you know if you have this car or not. Okay. I'm the whole decision maker because you might inadvertently damage the relationship between your customer and your salesperson. Because we know that people buy people. And I always know when I've done that, where customers bought the car and the customer phones up about changing the delivery time, the cherished plate transfer, or want to change the color of the car. If they speak to and ask for me, not my salesperson, I've inadvertently damaged that relationship. So I want to turn around and say, hey, listen, first I've got to tell you, Stuart's working really hard for you. He's in there beating me up. He's getting me phone a few more independent buyers. He tells me I'm hoping to keep your payments to X amount. He tells me I'm hoping to get Y amount for your car. Is that right? Okay, you've got to praise your salesperson. And do me a favor, managers, don't belittle the salesperson in front of the customer. In fact, even behind it, I tell you what, the amount of time that you come out as a manager with the word boss behind your name, you've got more clout. You can say exactly the same thing that your salesperson said, and it'll work for you where it hasn't for them. It's not because you're a better salesperson. It's not because you've got more experience. It's just because of the fundamental of comparison. Okay. One person said the market value in the car is 14 and a half. They need another expert to see if it's a good deal or not. If you don't second face or double close, they need to find that another expert from another dealership. If you come out and say exactly the same thing that your salesperson said, it's worked for you because your second person said it and you've got the clout of boss behind your name. Do me a favor. Please don't use that as a means to stroke your own ego. See how I just sold that car there? See how I got that extra money? That's why I'm doing what you're doing. One day you'll be half as good as me. Please don't do that because it's just not true. But it does work because you've got more clout. And again, Stuart, a little secret, what we do at Simco Training introduces it, Stuart, Simon from head office. It has even more clout there. And we know that. Of course, we use that. We're not silly. That really does help.
Yeah, just to reinforce what you've said, I've heard that with friends and family. Did you get a good deal? Absolutely. I got the boss out of his office. I
Yes.
made sure I paid the minimum.
Yeah.
Um, Even to the point, and I find I know businesses that operate like this because the sales manager can genuinely be busy and not able to second face. Does it have to be a manager that second faces?
Oh,
Could you
great.
have a senior sales that you know and trust that you buddy up with,
So true.
and you get them to second face? Now, there's a little bit of theatre there. We'd never lie to the customer. We'd never deceive them. The customer will assume that
Mhm.
you're in a senior position or a management position. Um, but yeah, if you've got a sales exec that you could buddy up with, that you trust to second face your customers, I know of retailers where that works really well.
I know I want to go back to time there, but when modern car dealerships, there is lots of management. Sometimes there's almost too much management. Okay, sorry, don't take that the wrong way. But I do believe that sometimes if we make the time, you're going to get more bang for your bucks. That's where it's going to put money into your deal. And here's my little way of trying to convince the sales manager to get out and second face every single customer. Too often I hear this conversation in dealerships, and this is 2025, this is August, and this still happens. And I was in a client, wasn't last week, it was the week before. And you might know the scenario. Your salesperson says to the customer, so what you're saying, sir, is if I can pay you 14,500 for your car, you'd be happy to go ahead and secure that car. And you'd be happy to leave me 2,000 euros or dollars or pounds to secure the car. Yes. Great. Let me go and check with the boss. So 14,500. Great. Hi, Mr. Sales Manager. They really want 15,000 for their car. No, no, no. See if I can get it for 14 and a half. Okay, I'll try. Great news, Mr. Customer. I can give you 14 and a half. Let me tell you, managers out there, sometimes your top salespeople are working harder on you than the customer. And by the way, I don't blame them for doing that. I think they're your top salespeople because they're smart. They've just worked out it's easier to work on you than them. I promise you, you just need to go out once or twice and say, "Hi, Mr. Customer. My salesperson tells me you're hoping to get 15,000 your car. Is that right?" "No, I said 14 and a half." "I promise you, you'll only do it once. You don't have to say anything." It's then just and your salesperson knows, don't pull that trick with me. Don't try and pull the wool over my eyes there. Stuart, I notice it happens in more and more dealerships where people are paid just on the bonnet of the car, just on the no matter that, forget the profit there. And those salespeople are working harder on management than they are the
Yeah,
customer.
and I've been on the receiving end of that. Oh, come on, boss, can you just? I need this one. I'm one away from target. But you can have puppy dog eyes. They'll try all sorts.
Yeah,
And you do as a manager think, if only you were trying this hard. Not that you'd say to a customer, please can I have your business? I'm only one from Target.
yeah,
But the principle is, yeah, how hard are they working the customer in a professional, transparent way, which
yep,
we train the word tracks to do that. We're not talking ever about burning customers.
no.
But are your sales team already equipped with the word tracks and the confidence and the ability to have those conversations before they come and talk to you?
Now we have a framework on how to second face, how to double close for
Yeah.
when you're at stalemate, for when down the road's cheaper, for when people want to go and think about it. We have all those frameworks there, and again, reach out and we can share with you those frameworks there. But if you're worried about what to say, here's what I'd say: say exactly what you want a salesperson to say to your customer. Say things like, "Hey, listen, that's just not feasible. How flexible can you be?" Not, "We can't do it for that. What will you buy it at?" Say things like, "Hey, we work within a market. We don't create the market." Okay. Little things like, there might be a little bit of room to move, or there might be a gesture. Realistically, what we hoping to get in your car, what, 14.6, 14.7, something like that. If you use those same things, your salesperson will listen to what you've said. They'll hear what works and they'll regurgitate it. You see, my view is our sales management, they should be the trainers in the business. Hey, listen, we go in and we train salespeople, but actually, we spend most of our time, Stuart, trying to train the managers. Because if we spend the time with the managers then should be the trainers in the business. So again, if you want the framework, reach out to us, but use the things that you're using currently. Uh, and make sure you don't shortcut the process. Okay. I know why. You're busy. You got that report that you need to do. You got the scream of a customer you need to get back to. But if you shortcut the process, what's our salesperson going to do? It's all right for you. Let me go and do it. Hey, listen, Stuart, you're a manager. Listen to this. What other tips would you give for an effective double close second face? I never know what to call it. Um, double close
Yeah,
second face.
that so my two passions around the subject are the first face, and the
Hmm,
second one I touched on was how we introduce the manager. I think is key. So
hmm.
you're right. We train the framework. I don't really want to touch on it because unless we had a whole separate podcast to
Yeah.
explain the science behind it, it wouldn't make sense.
Yeah.
But I'll just summarize by saying that the manager second facing should be organic. It should be
Hmm,
natural. It
hmm.
absolutely shouldn't be before I can let you leave.
Yeah.
The manager, and this is what we'll talk about on another podcast, and we do in our training, the manager will become aware that the customer wants to think about it. And there's a way that we demonstrate that and we train that. And the manager needs to take it upon themselves to make themselves available at the
Yes.
right time.
Yeah, so true. So true. Well, listen, today it was just because of what happened a couple of weeks ago. And we thought we'd do a quick podcast on this about managers. We're urging you to try and get out, get away from the chair, go out and speak to customers, because tell you the last thing I want to leave the listeners with. It's the fun part of the job.
Mm.
Isn't it that where you do the deal? That get away from those reports. Okay. Yes, I know the reports are important. Yes, we know that. We absolutely do. I tell you what, it's the fun, it's the buzz of it. That's why you started doing what you're doing. So get back to do it. That's why I want to leave the listeners with. Anything else to leave them with, Stuart?
The thing I was thinking now of, and it's free beer whenever I closed a sale for any of the team, that's a pint you owe me. It was never I closed it, you couldn't, because that's not how we operated. But it's definitely, and anyone listening who I may close a sale for in the future, it's definitely a pint that you owe me.
Fair enough then. Listen, thank you very much for that, and I'll see you again next time. That just leaves me to say that all details of this episode and other episodes on the selling in the motor trade can be found on our website, symcotraining.co.uk. Go there to get a copy of our book, Words That Sell Cars. Go there to sign up to a free trial of our Sales Fitness online sales training program. Easiest way to get hold of me is Simon Bowkett through LinkedIn.